Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my client Demi's vlog. And for those who follow him, you know he does conjugate. That's what I have him do based upon the equipment he has. So we start the week off here with a max incline bench. And I think for him, because he's a raw lifter, he's just not crazy strong yet. He's going to be competing raw. He doesn't have access to a lot of equipment. I'm probably only going to have him do 4 different types of presses for max effort work. And it's kind of what I think are the best varied for a lot of raw lifters if we're going to run a low variation LME setup. And it's going to be normal bench press, closed grip bench, incline bench, and then a floor press. Because that really gives us everything we need for good carryover. And it also lets us look at the different weak points. Between those 4, we can identify the weak links and pressing strength pretty effectively. So let's come over to his supplemental work. We do pause bench. We do barbell rows, right? And I'm having him adjust some stuff. I did send him some messages this week on it. When we're looking at these rows, you want to be careful to extend your lats at the bottom. Because that's one of the biggest mistakes people make with rows off the floor, is they don't lock at the bottom. And the reality is that's really what you need to be doing. If you want to really engage the lats, you need them to be in that lengthened position starting off the bottom so that you use the lats to break the weight off the floor in their lengthened position instead of using your biceps to do it. Okay? And it's definitely a game changer on those. And it's just one of the little tips I've figured out over the years with rows, because again, my back development tends to be extremely good, and then rows like that have always been one of my mainstays, one of my staples. Obviously, it's not the only thing I use, but I'm a big fan. Assuming you can recover. That is one downside we do have to rows like that on the floor. People who are real strong at good mornings, when we start mixing them together, we can really run into fatigue issues. And that's the case for me when I'm doing good mornings. Okay, that was his first time ever trying to do a sumo deadlift, by the way. He's never pulled sumo. It was a good effort. He got 5 plates, by the way. It was a 5-plate sumo. Now, keeping in mind he conventionals more. But it does go to show you that even a really technical lift like the sumo, if you're just strong enough with good mobility, you'll still have a decent sumo even if you don't know how to perform it and never done it, as long as you can get set up decent. But I find the issue with sumo, it's like it's largely some mobility concerns. Like, to be good at sumo, you need a certain amount of hip mobility and you need really strong hip flexors. Okay? If you don't have those things, you're going to be really bad at sumo, unfortunately. Of course, for supplemental work for him here, we do good mornings, right? Good mornings are a mainstay for him. Now, he's getting a little squattier than I would like on these. A little squattier than I would like. It's not terrible. A little more than I'd like, but you know what? I can still live with it because we're still getting a full hip hinge. Oh, his other supplemental work on the upper days, we're working triceps very hard. Triceps are his weakest link. Now, obviously his upper body in general is a weaker link. His lower body is stronger relative. So we need to just thicken his whole upper body up for the bench. And we are working on that, right? It's definitely something we're working on. But his triceps are very much an issue. So I'm having him do quite a bit more tricep work, meaning they're getting more variation than the other muscles of the upper body, right? Because I can just bench and row for most of it, which is mostly what he does, benching and rowing. But then we're coming in and doing, substantial amounts of tricep work afterwards. So that's kind of what we're doing for him. Pause benching, rowing, and then multiple tricep exercises. So we do both a skull crusher and then high rep band press downs. I need to get that work capacity up in his triceps. I need those tendons healthy so I can push them harder. Lower body here, we of course after the max we do good mornings. I have him do leg presses, and I don't mind 2 feet on his leg press. Right, a lot of my people I have him do single leg. He's got a slide that's decently wide here. Problem is a lot of the slides are too narrow to really do a good leg press with 2 legs. right? They're almost a waste of time, especially if you're a pretty big guy, because you can't get into a lengthened position for the quads, right? It's a problem. The slide needs to be wide enough to do that. It's a design issue. Then I have him do glute bridges, and pretty much all that we really need for his lower body. Have him do more rows. And the reason for that is that his upper body is less developed than his lower. His lower body strength and thickness is better than his upper. So I will, of course, for a lifter like that, we're going to row on lower body days because we need to bring that up, right? We need to bring the area up. Because if we don't, then it's going to continue to lag. And if I can come in and have him do rows on this day also, we get a pretty good amount of rowing volume in. It lets us get more upper body work in general and to just get thicker up top. But it's also not going to interfere with his pressing. That's a case of people say, well, couldn't he come in and do some pressing too? No, because we're going to have to max bench and speed bench. And those I really do need to limit to 2 days a week, just for recovery purposes, shoulder health, everything else. But the rowing we can get away with because the rowing is easy on the joints. And it's not going to matter if we row 2 days in a row, and let's say the isometric work, our posterior chains fatigue. Well, we're going to have a day off after lower days. Not as big of a deal, right? And it's going to be at least 3 days until we actually have to use the posterior chain dynamically again. Right? Okay, good. Glad everyone understands. Of course, then we do speed bench. And the speed bench days look very similar, right? They look just like the other day, other than instead of doing normal benching, we do speed bench and we rotate grips, 3 reps, 3 sets wide, medium, and close. And then, of course, he finishes up with dynamic effort, which is box squats with a safety bar right now, speed pulls, leg presses, good mornings, glute bridges, rows. And this pretty much sums up his week, so I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.